Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Shah Peerally and we are going to discuss today about how to fill certain forms. We had started that before, but due to time constraints I had not continued. But this time, since this form is something that a lot of people use for change of status, extension of status, I'm going to go over it. And the form is form I-539 or I-539, which is a form of extension of status or change of status. And if you look at it, you go on the USCIS website, which I have on the top here, and then you click on forms. And first, that's the first step. Of course, that's how you get the forms, by the way. USCIS.gov, you go on forms, and hold on a second here. As usual, you're going to see issues. Well, it should give me a time. Okay, all forms, of course. I'm sorry. And then you type here. You can to by content I-539 form. Here we go. And here it is. I-539 application to extend or change non-immigrant status. Okay, again, yes, it's for non-immigrant status. Before I get into the form, in order for you to change status, you have to be in status. That means your I-94 has still to be valid, otherwise you won't be able to do much with it. So make sure you have that. You have the option of filing online, but we're not going to go through this because as lawyers, we don't really use the one that which is done online. We do it through the PDF form, and here it is, right? So first of all, whenever you're filling a form, make sure that you can save it and you update it. Double check if those forms are good to date. You know, this one expires in 2024, but even if you see that, sometimes they are updated forms, so you need to double check on that always. So here you just go straight, like for here I'll just put my name, Peerally. Well, I'm even typing my name wrong. That's kind of interesting. And then here, and this brings us to something very interesting. You need to be careful when you fill this form, etc. And here's asking for an alien number if you have one. So let's put it here. Let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here they're asking if you have an account online, if any. It depends. If you want to create an account, that's a different topic. But let's say we don't have any here. And if you want to mail the thing to someone else, let's say you want to mail it to XXX, and then they are on Peralta, for example, and then you can fill all the thing. But if it is going to be mailed to your physical address, you don't have to fill this part. And here we're going to put our street address for our office, 3600 Central Court, and then we put the suite number here, pick, and then 202, city or town, Newark, and then you have California. And you keep going on like that, but make sure the form is, you can save it, because sometimes you don't have the software, it won't allow you to do that. Country of birth, in my case, I will just put USA. So citizenship USA, but that should not be the case. Let's put it India, just to be on the, to make sure, India, and then etc. etc. And we'll say India, and date of birth 12/1980. Okay, so then if you have a social security number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, then last arrival. This is very important. You need to find out what is your last arrival. To do that, you can go on the I-94. You just type I-94, and then it should give you that, the official website for I-94. And that's another thing interesting, because it's very important you get that I-94 as soon as you enter. It's done online. Once you punch in your details on this website, it will give you your arrival date and when your I-94 expires. Once you get that, you come back here and you fill that number here, right? Let's say the number is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so now passport number 456789. Okay, so again, these are fictitious number. Don't go and repeat that. Well, I know I'm just saying that. Travel document, of course, if you have any travel documents, you can put the number here, 456789, and passport, country of passport, or in this case, India, and document expiration date, 12 12 12 12 2021. Okay, can be 2021 because then you will have a problem because the time I'm filling this. And the current non-immigrant, for example, let's say you entered at a B2 visa and you just type it here, should here. Okay, now that's H1 to B1 to H1, etc. So it has all those options here. For example, let's say you're in B2, you're moving to H1B fashion model, for example. You just put that. Then expiration date, you put the date which is there, 12/12/2021, an example, right? So 22. Reinstatement. These are for students, right, who lost their service, and in our case, we're going to do a change of status because you're moving from one to another, and then new status effective. You can put an effective date, by the way, here. And the change that I'm requesting is, okay, here we have some problems sometimes with those forms, and that's where people get really upset because you have this, and I'm having it today because this computer I think don't have the updated version of the Adobe or something like that. So you need to put that, and if you can't do it, when you print it, you can write it by hand. I repeat that, when you print it, you can write it by hand. If you're the only applicant, you don't have children, you just put I am the only applicant, right? So now you go for this part. If you answered yes, prefer a receipt number. That means if you're on 2B, you answered yes, that's a receipt number. If you had another, for example, another 797. And separate petition, if you have a spouse, in this case is no, so you put no, and etc. You keep going on. Additional information about the applicant, the passport number, 1 2 3 4 5 6, country of issuance, India. You keep going on like that. Okay, so those are just the typical things you just have to. Is this application based on extent? Okay, that part is interesting. You can put the date you want this to be applicable, 12/11/2022, for example. And even though your date expires, but always make sure you put it a date that matches the last I-94 that you have, for example, your B1 going to H1, etc., because that makes things easier. Otherwise, you'll have a lapse in between and it can create problems. Is this application based on an extension of status to your spouse? That's usually used for dependents when they're filing. So you put yes here, and then you can put yes or no depending on your situation, right? In this case, I think no, because we said no spouse. Now the great thing is the most important part, not most, everything is important, but the part 4, this is where you have more detailed question. Are you any person included in this application for an immigrant visa? What they are asking here is if you have an I-140, for example, filed for you, or an I-130. If you have one, you have to put yes. The reason they're asking that, it goes to INA 214B, which basically look at the immigrant intent. So if you have an I-140 and you're moving to a student visa or a B1 visa, they can deny it based on intent because those are not dual intent visas. I repeat that. These are non-dual intent visas. Like an H1 or H4, they are dual intent visas. So in those cases, you're allowed to have a non-immigrant visa like that, plus also the having your green card being processed. That's what they are talking about here. Has an immigrant petition ever been filed? The same thing is you put yes, I-130 petition by family, etc. I-45 is the adjustment of status. If you have already filed it and it's there in the file, you have an NE number, etc., you will probably want to put yes. I'm putting yes here. It doesn't mean you have to put yes, okay? I'm just giving an example here. Have you ever been arrested? This is where it gets tricky. If you have been arrested, you better check with a lawyer before you file this, because you can, depending on the crime, you can be placed on deportation. So make sure you check on that. And of course, all the other questions, excuse me, all the other questions like, have you been involved in genocide or torture? You better say no, because if you are saying yes, you're going to have problems. But I'm not saying you say no if you didn't do it. If have you killed any person? No, no, no. Okay. Engaging in any kind of sexual contact with any person without consent? No, unless you've been charged. Again, if you've been charged, you better not fill that form on your own. You're going to have problems. It's better to talk to a licensed attorney. You can call us 510-742-5887. So denying any person ability to exercise belief, here we go. We have no, because if you do that, you really have, and we know this is happening a lot in some countries now, and we know who we're talking about here. And have you been in the paramilitary, etc.? If you, yes, you better mention, because like I had a situation of a client where she was cleaning weapons and she didn't mention that, so they gave her a hard time. She was not really in the military, she was just cleaning the guns, etc., because they had those old guns that needed to be cleaned. So she was like a maid there doing that, and they still gave her hard time. Have you served in any time in prison? No. And again, if yes here, you better talk to an attorney. Have your other person included ever been a member, group, organization, which person, weapons, okay, threatened to do so? If you say yes, you better have an explanation again, okay? So then, have you participated in selling, transporting weapons? No. If you did, you're going to have a problem. So, military, paramilitary, that's what I was talking about a little bit here. No. So have you, any person included in that application, done anything that violated the terms of the non-immigrant status? You now hold no. And are you any person in this application now in removal proceedings? Removal proceedings means deportation. So if you have that, you also have to talk to an attorney. Anytime you say yes with most of those part except those first questions, 3, 4, 5, 6, you will have, I would highly recommend you have an attorney present to help you in this case and even to prepare the case. And so last admitted, granted, have you, any person included this application, been employed? In this case, we'll say yes, because maybe he's on OPT. No, we'll say no, because in this case, we said B1 to that. So any of you person included currently on a J1. Okay, J1 is on a special visa. Once you're in it, you get locked. So be careful if you're on J1, changing status is very difficult. Then the rest is, of course, if you use an interpreter, you use it, you put the applicant, and of course, if someone else fill it, you have to mention who filled the form. And there's no interpreter here. For us lawyers, we put I am an attorney, but if not, then you don't put that. So this is the form, and there is additional stuff that you can put here, additional information for additional member of the family, but I'm not going too much into this detail. This is the form application to extend change a status on non-immigrant status, and this is attorney Shah Peerally. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more things. Share it with your friends, and it's important because that's how we keep going with those YouTube videos. Now, going back to this, for those who are applying to extend or change status or any kind of immigration form, it is recommended to have a professional handle it for you. We have been doing this for years now, or going to 19 years now, and we will be glad to help you. Give us a call, 510-742-5887. And anything I told you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any question. Thank you.